So here's yet another one about a wife who learns the hard way what happens when you hide your past from your guy. You get married to a guy, you let him to believe you're a certain way, and one way or another the truth always comes out, and in this situation, now he's divorcing her and she's having a giant meltdown, and it's so unfair and the world's coming to an end, even though she's the one that caused this whole mess to begin with. Title: My husband just filed for divorce over my S-word history, and I'm devastated. She says, my husband and I have been together for 8 years and married for 5. We have no children, but we're planning on starting to try to start a family in 2017. This is an older story. He's a doctor, and while I work IT as a programmer, he is and always been extremely attractive, fit, well-dressed, intelligent, funny, kind, sweet, hardworking, and successful. In other words, he's a catch, and he could easily replace you if you lie to him, deceive him, manipulate him, all that. Throughout our relationship, we never talked about history or past partners. Well, that's stupid. He knew about some of my ex-boyfriends, and I knew about some of his ex-girlfriends, but we never really went into more detail than that. I didn't think it was important, and I thought he felt the same. Bullshit. Lying by omission. He probably changed the subject every time he brought it up. That's probably what was going on there. A few weeks ago, we were at a wedding with some friends, and they were going through old videos and pictures that they had. One of the videos showed me at a party going wild and just being generally very drunk and doing dumb college stuff. Define being wild and doing dumb college stuff. At some point, it showed me starting to make out with 2 guys. And at this point, my friends quickly fast forward the video because they realized that wasn't supposed to be in there and was obviously awkward. They apologized and thought that was the end of it. Your husband, who's a doctor, who you describe as a catch, good-looking, great shape, well-dressed, intelligent, hardworking, successful, he doesn't want his wife to be one of those gals. That's not going to sit very well with him. My husband didn't really react at the time, but when we were alone, he brought it up. I apologized for my friends and brushed it off with yeah, I was a pretty crazy girl back in college, and told him was sorry that he had to see that. This led to some more questioning by my husband, and it basically escalated into us disclosing a lot more about our S-word histories. I told about some of the things that I did and how many partners I had, and some of the casual S-word relationships I had that I didn't really mention before. Notice that I didn't really mention it, must have slipped my mind, and I'm willing to bet you she did a whole lot of freaky with other people. Other guys are probably scumbags, but not with her husband, who she claims she loves. I would like to say here that I was never in contact with any of the people I had ever had S-word relationships with since I met my husband. He never met them, and I haven't seen or talked to any of them in like 10 years. Like basically after my wild phase, I moved to a new city and dated a guy for a year and a half. We broke up, and then 4 months later I met my now husband. Anyway, after a conversation, he was kind of silent and cold. But I figured I just need to give him some time to process what he had just learned and figure we'd move on from it quickly. Well, honey, you thought wrong. A few days ago, he served me with divorce papers, saying he couldn't get what I told him out of his head, and that I wasn't exactly who he thought I was. I have no problem with this. She bait and switched him. End of story. He has a right to know. Now, she claims that he didn't bring it up or didn't ask about it or something like that, but I'm not quite buying that whole thing. I've been doing this too long. I started crying and pleading and begging to him that we could go to counseling and work past this. But he pretty much shut down on me and said that his mind is made up and it was the best of us to go our separate ways. Reddit, please. I don't know what to do. I love this man more than anybody ever loved before. I still have the same feelings for him that I had when we first met. We've always had a great relationship and never had any issues or problems. You never had any issues or problems because you kept quiet all the issues that could have caused you issues or problems. I'm absolutely shocked that he'd be willing to throw it all away like this. So the moral of the story, yet again, and I've done countless of these stories, short stories, long stories, for almost 4 years now, is that you better be upfront with your guy before you take the plunge, before you get married or anything like that. Gals need to be honest, and guess what? Guys need to be honest too about whatever skeletons are in their closet, whatever background they have, because if you don't, in one form or another, it always comes out. It always does. The truth will, whether it's 6 months after you get together or 6 years or 60 years, it will come out. And both parties, men and women, have a right to decide who they want to be with. And they find out they've been bait and switched, they've been lied to, he obviously doesn't want to be married to someone like that and have that person be the mother of his kids one day, or for his kids one day to go online and find videos of their mom doing certain things, which is going to be really big in the future. All these OnlyFans gals and gals that do these things online, I can't imagine down the road all the divorces that are going to happen, or almost marriages that almost happen when these guys find out all these gals that have been doing this, either being big-time OnlyFans stars, making a lot of money, or just trying to do that, made a few $100, but their videos are out for the world to see online. Look at that idiot, that gal who's running for office in Virginia. You all know what I'm talking about, that girl, the Virginia State Assembly or something, she's running as a Democrat, and she did online stuff with her husband, and now is crying, complaining because of the injustice that the other party let it out, but even though it was in the public domain. See what I mean? It's going to come back to bite you in the butt. So it's best to tell who you're involved with, the truth about you and your past. Otherwise, this type of thing's going to happen. I don't feel bad for her, and he's handling it just right.